Hello teachers, welcome to Teacher Miriam's classroom, and today we are going to do part 2 and we are going to learn about the curriculum interpretation. Now remember we said CBC means competence-based curriculum. Now the curriculum design is prepared by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. However, it is the role of the teacher to interpret the design and then come up with professional documents. In part 3, we have already talked about the professional documents. Now, once you get the curriculum design from the Kenya Institute of Curriculum, now it is very important to go through the curriculum design even before you start skimming. Now, it is very important to make sure that the curriculum design has already been approved by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. After that, teachers, it is very important to check when it was published and when it was last edited. For example, I have Science and Technology, grade 4, which was first published in 2017 and it was republished in 2024. After that, it is good to go to the content and see what is involved or what is in the content. What are the expectations of the design? Now, when you look at the curriculum design, you will see that there is a part whereby you have got the number of learning areas and the lessons allocated for each. For example, Science and Technology should have 4 lessons per week. After that, it is important to read through the national goals of education. However, I know the teachers know the national goals of education, but it is important to go through again. Now, what is the importance or what is the essence of the national goals of education? Now, the national goals of education give guidelines when developing a curriculum so as to understand what should be included in the subject matter. So that was the essence first as they were preparing the curriculum designs. However, as a teacher, the national goals of education help us to produce citizens or are aimed to help us to produce citizens who meets the government's socio, economic, and technological needs. And if you go through the national goals of education, that is what is there. Now, after that, we will go straight away to the next page after reading through the national goals of education. There are 8. You're going to find the general learning outcomes for primary education. Now, in this case, they are different and we have got many. So by the end of primary education, what should the learner be able to do? The learner should be able to communicate appropriately using verbal and non-verbal modes of variety of contexts, demonstrate mastery of number of concepts to solve problems in day-to-day life, demonstrate social skills, moral and religious values for positive contributions to the society, develop one's interests and talents for personal fulfillment, make informed decisions as local and global citizens of a diverse democratic society in an independent world. Again, it helps to explore, manipulate. They should be able to explore, manipulate, manage and conserve the environment effectively for learning and sustainable development. Then they are also supposed to acquire digital literacy skills for learning and enjoyment. Finally, they're supposed to be able to appreciate the country's rich, diverse cultural heritage for harmonious living. So we've just looked at the general learning outcomes for primary education. After that, we go to the essence statement. Now, this is the scope. The essence statement will give you the scope. Remember, we are looking at Science and Technology grade 4. So if you look at the essence statement here, Science and Technology is a learning area which engages in the human pursuit to understand the relationship between the living and non-living universe. Science is a discipline that deals with the explanations and predictions about nature and the universe, while technology is the application of science to create devices that can solve problems and do tasks. However, the essence statement is longer than that, but it is very important that the teacher realizes. Remember, when the children are doing science and technology, this will help them even as they go to junior and senior secondary and to the STEM pathway. Now, after that, it is very important to look at the specific general learning outcomes. So by the end of the course, what should the learner be able to do? They should be able to interact with the environment for learning and sustainable development, apply digital literacy skills appropriately for communication, learning and enjoyment. Then after that, they're supposed to appreciate the contribution of science and technology in the provision of innovative solutions, use scientific knowledge to observe and explain the natural world. They're also supposed to make functional discoveries that impact individuals and the wider society. Then use innovative approaches as well as critical thinking and problem-solving skills to stimulate scientific inquiry at the local, national, and global levels for lifelong learning. After that, you will see the number of strands that have been outlined. For example, remember we are looking at science and technology grade 4. The strands are 3. So we have living things and the environment, matter, force, and energy. Now we go straight away now to the curriculum design where we have got the content. Now the first column is strand. This, in very simple words, is the academic topic. Then we have got the substrand. After that, we have the specific learning outcomes. Mostly it is outlined that by the end of the substrand, what should the learner be able to do? Now, it is what they are able to achieve. After Mwalimu, you have taken the children through the learning process. What are they able to achieve? After that, we look at the suggested learning experiences. This is the spectrum of activities, interactions, and environments through which the students acquire the knowledge, skills, and attitude. So Mwalimu, you have to organize your learning experiences. Remember, these are just suggested. You can as well generate your own depending on the environment where the learners are. And then we go to the key inquiry question. These are questions that help to focus on learning. They probe for deeper meaning and set a stage for further questions. So you can as well even ask the learners the questions. The learners can even generate their own questions and ask, and the other children will answer. Remember, we said in key inquiry questions, don't use close-ended questions, but use open-ended questions. Now, after you have been able to interpret the design, now think about the mapping. For example, in this strand, we have got living things in their environment. Then the substrand is plants, 12 lessons. So the teacher has to look at the specific learning outcomes and then map out how do I distribute these lessons. There are 12. The learning outcomes are 3. So in many cases, Mwalimu don't make a mistake and interpret this to be 3 lessons. Remember, the children are supposed to acquire knowledge, skills, they're supposed to acquire values, attitude, and they're supposed to embed the core competencies through the learning process. So it is very important you plan out, or you plan how, or you map how you are going to distribute the 12 lessons. It is at this point that Mwalimu, you are also able to decide which projects will the learners participate in, what materials or what resources will I use. And you can as well come up with a project log just to write down that during the substrand plans, what are the materials that I will need, or what projects will the learners be involved in. And this calls for the teachers to let the learners know in advance so that the materials can be brought. Remember, we said it is not a must they buy the materials. They can as well reuse or recycle. Now, once you have done the mapping and look out which learning experiences will give me the desired learning outcome, then you can go ahead and start skimming. I hope you have been able to learn a lot today. Remember to subscribe to Teacher Miriam's classroom. Asante sana. See you during the next class. Thank you.